Oh, the tune to bring happiness to you on a Monday. Good old Noel Edmonds. Good evening, folks. It's Airfix and Chill. Didn't really have a subject really tonight. I've had a couple of emails about things which I want to deal with at a later date. Things like paints, because I see that Gallery have brought out a range of paints, and after watching Nigel's review, I'm a little bit excited. So we'll talk about that another time. We've got Malcolm hopefully coming next week for Models for Heroes, so we'll be talking to him next week. But if you do have subject matter that you want us to discuss that we've not done before, look at the titles. I know that a lot of them titles are a little bit skew because we talk about one subject and we end up on something completely different, But if you do have any suggestions for topics like stashes, I've got a list of them, and I'm going to go through them one by one. But anyways, we got Luke in, we got Ben, we got Zinzan, we got John, and we got John Joffrey Parker in as well. How's your microphone, John? Is it working? Clearly not. You're not working, John. Are you muted yourself? Hang on. Is it working? I sent him a microphone.
Right, I've had to go back to my ordinary mic.
Oh, just keep trying it. Is that work? He's not plugged in yet? No.
I've got the wrong adapter, mate. It's got a DIN socket adapter, and the back of the mic is something different.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's like an Ethernet cable adapter.
Hang on, because I used that mic. That's the first mic I used.
This is the USB's fine, but the ends are DIN. It won't go in the back of the mic. I can get an adapter for it. Don't worry about it, mate.
Get an adapter for it.
I'll get one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Then.
So,
yeah.
I was hoping to use it this week on one of my videos. Never mind.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyway, I couldn't believe it when it turned up.
Yeah, well, I said to you that I wanted to be. Yeah, that's fine, Nigel. You come in when you want, mate. Like I said to you, I had it there collecting dust. That was my first one before I went over to the Yeti Blue, which has been a fantastic microphone. Time to upgrade it. I think they got a new one out, a more digitalized one. I think. But I've been using that blue now for about 3 years, and I had that one there, and I thought, and I used, all my original videos was using that mic. So I'm glad somebody's got use of it. Anyway, so we're going to do questions and answers tonight. So if you've got any scale model questions for the panel, please ask us. If you could put QQQ or question before you ask a question, and we can easily pick them out. I've got James in the background in the green room going through the moderators chat for us, moderating it all. No silly questions. What next week's lottery numbers, etc. We don't really want any of that. But if you have any, and if you've got a comment on, if somebody says something that you want us to, comment about something, put the word comment or CCC. It's really simple. Obviously, super chatters and channel members get priority over everyone else because they do help finance this live stream through their wonderful donations. But yeah, so if you've got a question, let us know. Is there a question already, James? Let us know. I can't see any at the moment. So if you've got a question, put it in the chat and we'll discuss it. I will say one thing. Did everybody watch the video about the Panther?
I did, yeah.
Just saying, was anybody interested in the simplified builds? Was anybody who watched it got any thoughts on this kit? because I think it's a fantastic mojo build. So, you know, if anybody's seen the track on it, link track, but they've even put the sag in the track. They've molded it in. I thought it was a fantastic kit, and it's up for grabs. So if you watch the July edition of New Tool announcements, you could do it. So, right, question. Leslie Schramm writes, why is it called a stash? Ben, why do we call it a stash?
Because you have to hide it away from your spouse.
What if you haven't got a spouse?
Then maybe similar to me, your stash tends to be in most places and not in a single point of origin.
That's a good shout. I suppose because if you're single, you've got it inside your bed with you. You can up to it at night, I guess.
Not quite. They're under the bed, not in it, but you know, they're not far off. But yeah, no, I mean the stash. I've got many hideaway places of where the stash goes, depending on the value of the stash.
Yeah.
And again, I presume it's called stash because we do literally stash kits away for evermore to be built at some point. So,
how big's your stash then, Ben?
Well, according to scale mates of what I've logged, it's over 100 supposedly.
That's not a stash.
That's not a stash.
Well, it's not a major stash per se, but bearing in mind probably 50% are 1-350 warships.
Yeah,
they're quite physically they're quite large. Whereas, for example, up there is all the aircraft, which includes my Harrier collection and Tornado collection, and then a couple of like 70-second stuff, and then I've got some larger boxes behind me. But most of the ships and that are actually in the main bedroom under the bed because they're either in the loft, which in the winter is freezing. So I've decided to bring them all down and just put them under the bed because they are tidy and out of the way. But yeah, it's a fair size when you actually have 1-350 ships. 100 in a 70-second aircraft, probably could fit into a cupboard. But yeah, with about 50 ships, probably no.
What about you, Luke? Are you a stasher, or do you just grab them and build them as you go? Or
I mean, I guess it's called a stash because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
a stash is putting something or multiple things away for future use. That's what it means. And I guess that's what it's called that. As regards personally, historically, yes, I got up to about, I don't know, 500 maybe. Mainly 35th armor. But then about 4 years ago, I decided to go for quality over quantity, I would say. So I've probably now got in the region of about 80 kits.
Wow.
But they're all high-end quality kits. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes. Yeah. See, my problem I've got, and I don't know whether anybody else has this problem, I have rankings. So on my left is a bench there. Those are kits I want to build now. Up here, I've got a massive, if I do that, up there, I've got shelving all the way around full of kits, and they're kits that I'm going to build someday. But then I look at kits here, and what will happen is these kits, some of them, I'm like, I'm not going to build them this year. They end up in the attic where they die. I will not. I don't think I've built a kit from my attic, not in the last 5 years. So upstairs in my attic are kits that I don't think I will ever build.
I mean, I think it all depends, doesn't it? I mean, I've got kits in the stash, that I won't touch until I retire.
Oh,
because I know that they are so involved and are going to take up so much space.
Yeah,
that I just won't touch them, so that they're in storage, for want of a better term. But what I do with every single kit is I take the decals out.
Yeah.
And the decals are all in like A4 ring binders and protected because I know that in 10 years time or whenever, if that kit has been in the attic or wherever, where the decals are just going to be shot to shit.
Yeah.
So I try and look after the decals as best I can.
Yeah.
If every kit the decals are in a folder.
That's an idea actually to do, because that's one of the primary reasons I took them out of my loft, is because of the massive temperature swings you get in there, which would ruin the decals. However, a bit like you, if I took them out, put them in a binder in, like an A4 box, like one of the standard stacking boxes, then I could actually probably put them back into the loft with just the plastic, because that's never going to go off.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got about 5 A4 standard sort of ring binders with decals in, and they just live on a shelf within the house. So, I'm not anal enough that it's in a temperature controlled environment and moisture removed and all that sort of stuff. But they're in sort of room ambient temperature. So
normal storage temperature.
Their longevity will be much greater than if they're in a loft or in a shed, because they're much more subject to temperature and moisture and everything else.
Interesting you say that, Luke, because about 7 years ago, I had the opportunity of buying a dead man stash. And what he did was exactly what you did. He would remove the decals into a folder. And then I think there was about 200 kits, I think. And the problem was that the guy said, look, just give me, I think he wanted like about 500 quid for the lot. And he said, I know the decals are missing. So you're going to have to go through them and get them all together. And he said, look, just give me 500. I need them gone. The guy had died, left it all there. No other family. So I bought them. And I spent nearly 3 weeks putting all the decals back into each box to sell. But the guy was somebody who would buy aftermarket decals. I made more money from the decals in those folders than I did on the kits themselves, because not only did I found that there was that say for instance the Hasegawa decals in the folder in that same, they call them stickies, I think, or like plastic folder, plastic sleeves. In there would be like 4 or 5 other decal options that he had bought from Microcell and all that, all that.
Yeah.
And I made more money from selling those than I did the entire kits. But
absolutely.
The kits themselves were, they were old kits, but that was what he did. But he naturally, I don't think he ever built a kit with the original decals. I think he built using aftermarket. And I don't know much about the guy. I didn't want to know much about the guy. That's the thing, isn't it? When you go to these places, and it wasn't a family member, or if it was, I think he was like his landlord or something, and they just wanted it moved. And it was about two trips in the van. But I took a long time. I think I got the missus involved as well, putting all the decals in together. But all the decals were mint. They went back in those boxes, and then I sold the kit. So, but yeah, I know people who do that.
Things like mask sets as well. If you've got mask sets for kit. My advice, each their own, don't keep those in the box in an attic, whatever. Take them out, put them in, like these little plastic insert folders you get for ring binders. Put your decals, your mask set, and all that stuff into that, and it will increase their longevity, really.
Would you put the instructions in as well to stop them getting water damaged?
Well,
do you leave the instructions
in? So yes, instructions, decals, and mask sets are all in the ring binders, but I also scan them as well.
Oh, come on, Luke.
So I've got an external hard drive that's got all the decals scanned in and the instructions for every kit.
Bloody hell.
That's
welcome to Scale Mates.
I was going to say, so that's a Scales mate job there.
Yeah,
upload that.
That's it. Yeah. Peter's Model Car Custom says, what a way to start. An American term, a stash, is an illegal hidden hoard. In fact, an English word hoard might help comprehension. If you don't buy a kit with your excess cash, you'll only drink it. Good shout. or get cocaine or something. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's a hard spend, isn't it? Depending. So I'm looking through some of the questions, comments. I'm single. The stash under the bed and beside it, and in another room. I like walking in as if I'm visiting a model shop. Yeah, if it looks like a model shop, you're almost there. I think that's good. What's the oldest kit in your stash which you keep meaning to build but keep getting distracted from building it? Crumbs. John, I'll give you that one. John Alec, what's your oldest kit that you've got?
Oh gosh. So I do not keep a big stash. So I was just thinking about how many I have. I have about 30.
About 30.
If I had a huge stash, it would drive me crazy, right? Because I would want to start them, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think. The one that I had in my stash right now, probably this classic Hour Mira. Was that a Lamborghini? Yeah, Lamborghini Mira. I've probably had that for 5 years. Maybe that's my oldest kit. 5 years. So
what's stopping you from building it?
There's just more interesting kits. There's just more interesting stuff to build than that kit. It's cool. I like it. It's my favorite Lamborghini. But it just hasn't risen to the top of what I want to put on the bench and film and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What about you, Zinzan? What's your oldest kit you've got in your stash?
Well, I was just looking at this and thinking, right, what could it be? But
1958.
Well, you should.
Not you, the kid.
It's no. Indeed, you're not so far from that because I've got two.
The last kit you bought, Zinzan?
Eh? The last kit I bought. I've got two here actually that I forgot I actually had at all, and I bought about 45 years ago. So I mean, I've got a Tamiya Chieftain tank.
Build it. It's brilliant. Loved it. Loving mine.
It'll be the second one I do, and I've also got a Hasegawa 132 scale Skyhawk trainer.
Oh, that's a pile of crap. Just burn it now. Put it in the bin now.
I mean, I took a look at it, and
it is warped. It is warped. It is warped.
It may very well be, but that's half the challenge, isn't it? It's to see if you can make it into something.
Yeah.
But they've been sat at my folks' house for the last 45 years.
Wow.
I happened to have a conversation with my dad about this, and he said, that bloody Craig Dukes, Zinners, your butler knows the answer, sir. Bless him. But I was having a conversation with him about this, and he said, I've got a couple of things that you might want then. Here you are. And the Chieftain is half built. So, yes, so those are the old ones, and I will get round to doing the Chieftain. It is a good kit, no question about that. So yeah, there we go. But in terms of, I had some thoughts. I thought someone asked earlier on, what would you call a small stash?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to suggest a stashette, if you'd like.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
The other thing's quite interesting, that interested me anyway, is that people with lots of kits can't always put them quite near to their bench. And in the same way that there are maybe a set of kits that you have that you've started but haven't finished, the distance they are from your desk or your bench is proportionate to how quickly you will build them.
Yes.
If you put it in a cupboard, you're probably not going to build it.
Yeah.
if it's gone in the roof, well, yeah, you might as well
Yeah.
put those decals in that little sheet that you've got and put it in your file and hide the file under the bed or bury it in the ground or something.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen, you know.
So are you simply saying modelling is surrounded by a guilty conscience of actually having to look at something that you've bought and therefore you go, I really should have built that, rather than if it's in a cupboard you go, I'll forget about it, or it's in the rafters?
To a vague extent, but it is a question of out of sight, out of mind. Believe me, I know, because I've done it. I've got a Ryefield Challenger 2, which I keep I keep thinking, yes, it's the Zinzan theory for the shelf of doom. Put it far away, and then you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah,
but it's a hobby, and you can do that kind of thing because it's your hobby, and that's the way of it.
Totally get that. Question: if the storage varies in temperature, such as an attic, doesn't that risk warping the plastic? No. Heat will always do something, but it's got to be extreme temperatures.
Yeah, I think we're very lucky in the UK because we don't really experience the variance and the extremes of temperature that other parts of the world do.
Yeah.
So for it to affect plastic here, I think is almost unheard of, really. But there are other parts of the world where that would be a consideration, like where Jim lives, for example.
Yeah.
In Arizona, the heat there is extreme, so that potentially would have an impact. But I think we're very lucky in the UK that it's not something we really have to.
I think it'd be more to do with the light, really, than the heat. Like the UV light would make the plastic go brittle more than the heat would ever do anything. I know I've had it where I've left a kit out on the side as a small child, not primed or whatever, come back to do it and just sort of warped and fallen apart a bit, But that, again, was left in front of a window, which obviously magnified the effect of the sun. So I think if you're putting in your stash in a secure location, be that a cupboard or across the way from you, so you're guilt tripped by it every time you look at it, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Question. How many Spitfires do you have in your stash? Crumbs. I think I have one. I think I have. Just putting it out there. When it comes to starter sets or gift sets, I think I have every single one that Airfix have done in the last 7 years. I've got the Blackpool one. I've got the Key Model World one. I've got the original release. I've got the one that comes with a lightning. You know what I mean? I've got the double. I've just received this one here, the Spitfire Flying Dray, which has, caused a little bit of controversy when it was released. But this will be my third 1/24th scale Spitfire I have in my stash. I've got the original Mark 9, got the Mark 8, and I've got this one now. And if anybody mentions about why not Johnny Johnson's markings, he never flew a Spitfire with a barrel underneath. Get that out of your head now. No matter anyone says to you, there's no evidence, there's no proof. You look back through the flying logs, he never even had a Spitfire with the bomb racks underneath. He got so good, he came back. And if they say, oh, it was in his autobiography, no, he talks about Spitfires coming over to where he was based with kegs of beer underneath. There's no evidence. He never mentioned it in any interviews. It was just mentioned briefly in his autobiography that somebody, I think he was talking to somebody like King Arthur or something, like a code name for a guy that was sending out like chocolates and fags.
What do you mean he was talking to King Arthur? What? By remedium?
No, I think he was called King Arthur. I think they gave him a code name, didn't they? Is it King Arthur or something? You read his book?
Merlin or something.
Is this base called
Merlin? Is it Merlin or something? Yeah. But yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to this one now. So as I said, I've got the Mark 9 up in the attic. I've got the Mark 8 up there. Now I've got this one. I'm assuming the Mark 8 will end up in the attic and this one will end up close to my bench. So I would love Airfix to release an upgraded Mark 5B in 148. I think that was the first Spit, or was it 172? The first Spitfire I ever built was a 5B. I think everybody's was, wasn't it? Back in the day, that was the bog standard Spitfire, wasn't it?
No.
Right. What was it, Joffrey? What was the bog standard Spitfire for you?
Bog standard Spitfire Airfix produced was a Mark 9, Johnny Johnson's Mark 9 Series 1 kit, and it was a 1958 release, I think.
Was that the one they boxed with the...
It was originally a bag kit, sold through Woolies, and then it ended up getting boxed through virtually every company.
They did a dogfight double set.
Yeah,
as Orby, didn't they, with it in?
They did a dogfight double set with the ME110.
Right.
That's it. I remember building that kit.
Dreadful,
I've ever built. It doesn't even look like a Mark 9.
It's got the worst undercarriage you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
That scarred me for Spitfires. I think that's what's done it, because I don't have any Spitfires in my stash at all. Not a single one.
Do you know what? If I'm feeling a bit low, like the dog's died or something, I'll pick up a Spitfire and build it. You know what I mean? My mother's dead, I'll build a Spitfire. Do you know what I mean? I can't be asked with a Krypton Factor or a Crystal Maze kind of kit. Do you know what I mean? Something with a challenge. If I want to build something quite simple, I'll go down the Spitfire route every time. I've done loads, and some are crap.
I've just had two on my bench at the same time.
Yeah. But I think the 5B, when I've talked to a lot, I know you say that, but you're a bit older than me, Joffrey, but Mark 5B was the Spitfire that we all built, back in the day.
Yeah, I built that twice.
Sure, it was a 172nd or 148. I think it was a 148.
They built a 48 5B, came out in the mid-70s, and that ran for years and years.
Yeah.
And a lot of different marks came off that kit.
Yeah.
Until they retooled it.
Yeah. What about anyone else got any? I mean, Spitfires. Go on, Shama. Spitfires have you?
Yeah, I've only got three, but two are 132 scale, and the other one's a 148. So not very many at all. Dull, eh?
Yeah, piss poor.
I've got 27 Spitfires in my stash. I've just checked.
Wow. I've lost count.
That's almost as many.
But I've got. I mean, I'm a bit like Nigel. I've got an enormous stash. It's unbelievably big.
Well, I've got a confession to make, and this sounds terrible. This does, but as many people will know, I wasn't particularly at first satisfied with the Spitfire release with the beer barrels. However, since discussing it over with somebody on a pint of beer, ironically, I have been swung round to the possibility of one. Now, the person in question may be doing a Guinness Spitfire, which would be quite cool. And myself being Italian and liking Peroni beer, I was told, why don't I do a Peroni one? To which I said, that will never work because I don't like any of the khaki, standard camouflage bits. I like silver ones. Wasn't until my friend then pulled up in front of me, Italian silver post-war Spitfire.
Wow.
I like. So.
Did you get a warm feeling in your loins, did you?
Not quite that much, but I may have a Spitfire, and it may be the one that I didn't really like at first. So wouldn't that be a bitter sense of irony?
See, stashes is what keep Airfix in business, what keep Revell in business. Yeah. The fact that you will see, this is why they release another version or another release. The box art grabs you. You cannot deny that an Airfix box art will catch your eye.
Yeah.
The amount. I keep saying, people keep saying to me that the Stalwart box art is one of the best, and I don't see it. I think it's average. I think they missed a trick. They should have had it in water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you see that,
but then you can't see the full features.
Yeah, but when you see that Stalwart, it proper jumps at you, doesn't it? The big wheels, that menacing front. The only thing that's missing is tiger teeth, and you would have a proper good model. Everybody would buy it with tiger teeth.
That's the Academy Poseidon I'm doing at the minute. Brand new release. For some people, it would be quite plain, but I quite like it like that because it's a subject of simply the model, or this, the subject of its modelling with the torpedo being dropped, and it's got the air launched, missiles on. It's simple, but it's effective. And again, it's something that actually makes you go. I mean, I'm doing the Aussie scheme that comes with this, but it's made me actually go, I'm going to do the wheels up version, not the wheels down, and I'm going to put it on a stand. And it's like, it's true. Box art does sell, and box art does make a stash.
Yeah. And also, if it's 50% off in the Airfix Club sale, it makes it very tempting as well. I bought 3 Tempests this week because they're cheap. £8 in the Airfix Club sale. £8.
Have you seen the mint offer on Airfix's site this week, Moss?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
If you're a club member, you can buy the new tool Phantom for $23.99.
$23.99 for a Phantom. Yeah,
it's awesome, that kit.
Yeah.
Can I have another go at this? How many Spits are in my stash? Can I say 25% of my stash are Spitfires, a quarter of them.
Wow, so that's 4.
You've got 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That didn't work. I'll get my coat.
Moss has got more Bearcats.
Don't talk me about Bearcats, crumbs.
Don't listen to that Zinners.
Go on.
Sorry, go on. Don't listen to that Zinners. He's only got a tiny stash. Bless him.
Yeah, that's fine. Size matters and everything. Do you know what I mean?
I want to make a comment on that.
Go on, then.
Because we've all experienced it at shows and everything else. And this will probably upset some. But people seem to... It's like they're feeding their ego. So if you say, like John Alex said, he's got around 30 kits-ish. Yeah. I've got about 80. Ben's got about 100. But if you're at a show and you're talking to somebody, and they were like, that's not a stash. I've got 600. Yeah, you might have 600, but 500 of them are shit kits.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it almost feels like they're compensating for something because of the size of their stash.
Yeah.
And I just think, well, firstly, even if you built one kit every calendar month for the rest of your life, which is a big ask depending on the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that they've got nicknames like Sable, isn't it? I was going to say, I think the acronym is SABLE, Stash Acquisition Beyond Life Expectancy.
Yeah. It's just it never ceases to make me smile at shows, and then you see people that have spent like £1,000 on kits that they're never going to build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're going to be worth pence when you go.
Yeah, but don't you think, Luke, that there are 3 particularly different types of stashes? You've got the collector stashes.
Yeah.
They're never going to build any of them.
Yeah, and I think that's almost a hobby in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Martin, yourself, I'm people that only collect Type 4 boxes, Airfix kits.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Airfix seems to be synonymous with that people will seek out the vintage Airfix, a Matchbox seems to be another brand that they tend to do. And they'll seek out those kits, even though from a scale modeling point of view, they're probably not the best kits.
No, they're not.
Well, this is the thing. I collect Airfix kits. I am a proud member of the AA. I really am, the Airfix Anonymous. Do you know what I mean? Right. I have to stand up and say, I'm an Airfix, and I've got an Airfix problem. But I love do you know what though? This sounds really daft. As somebody who sells antique items, I love the fact that I've owned it and then I've moved it on.
Yeah.
And
so it's a hobby, in itself.
I got somebody who asked me if I've got it here because I just thought I've got an original Airfix Sea King with the which is you can see you've got the lunar what they call it so I've got this right. The only thing that probably and back in the day in Woolworths that was 42p. Right. So somebody asked me if I had the instructions for this, And they come to me. Yeah, they come to me because they come to me because you would have it, and I do. But there comes a point where I'm looking at my thing, thinking it really is time to let go. And I'm never going to build them. I've just collected. It's not just Airfix kits,
but it's not just. I think maybe in scale modeling, if you take that as an umbrella term, because there's lots of sort of niche hobbies within the hobby, isn't there? Collecting being one of them.
Yeah.
But as humans, we tend to lean towards collecting, whatever it may be. We are collectors of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a human condition, so it's no surprise that there are people within this hobby that will collect those old vintage Airfix kits, and they're not buying it because they're going to build it because it'll look like a smashed banana. Do you know what I mean? When it's finished, it's not a good kit.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that they own that original boxing of that kit, which is got some infamy within the hobby itself, and I get it. Whereas like that Blitz kit that you reviewed earlier, where you put the video out, that is by far a superior kit to that Seeking, by far.
Yeah.
At a reasonable price. But is it ever going to be something? Is it ever going to be a kit that people will seek out? Is it ever going to be like that Airfix Seeking box? No, it's not, because it's not. It's never going to be that. In the armor world, some of the old Dragon 35th stuff goes for mental prices, and actually they're either inaccurate as a subject, or they're an absolute ball ache to build. So people aren't necessarily buying them for the build, they're buying them because it's vintage Dragon.
Yeah.
A lot of the kits in my stash will never ever achieve that level of where people will seek out those kits because of what it is. They won't, but every single one of them is a good kit. So it will build into a nice model, you know.
Do you say that though? It's like I'll give you 3 examples of some of the stuff I like to collect. Okay, so this here is the Maserati Bora from Airfix. Now, have you ever seen box art like that before for Airfix? Look at the logo on it. Like it's that old, because I bought it because I like the box art. I've got these. They even put these out as starter sets back in the 2000s or something, don't they? Like that. But then, so I buy that but then there's this one here, and this one is a very rare kit. Okay, I've only ever in scale mate. It was only ever released once back in the 70s, which is the Keelcraft C-type. See, I would have thought that would have been of more value than something like that. But if you look, there were people who will buy that because it just looks epic compared to that. But this was only released once. And if you want to talk about shit plastic, in here I've got it's only comes in 2 sprues, but where is it to? Is it that one there? Yeah. So if you see, you've got let me just put this on so you can see, because I love this now, right? So I've got it to work, right? So see that plate there, which has got all the rivets on and everything. Can you see how it's buggered in the corner? Because I'll go full screen as well, actually. I'll go full screen so you can see, right? So if you see it's buggered in the corner, come on. Is it going to, there you go. See, it's buggered in the corner because the, what's it called? It's gone over. So you see that?
Yeah.
Look at that. It's buggered in the corner. The other side is absolutely perfect. But where it's over, and every single kit was like this because that was how they designed them. It was just crap. But I would have thought this would be worth a lot more because you can't buy them. They were only ever released once, and that was it. But then who's going to build a C-type folding steam wagon? So the third one is this. My old man drove Volvos for years, and that is a Poker F16 Volvo engine, and they're crap, right? I even had to get John Alec to go in America to get a replacement radiator. You see, this one. Now I paid £70 for this kit, but you'll never get another one because the tooling's gone. But so what, but it's a good, it's very in depth. It's a 1:8 scale, but I've never built it because I'm afraid of it. Because it's a pocket kit, and apparently they were ball ache to build. But there you go. There's three things here. I guarantee if there was those three on the shelf, I reckon that one will sell fast.
Because it's down to the subject.
Yeah, down to the subject.
I mean, that Maserati is probably rarer than the Focus.
Well, Maserati
is loads, that Maserati.
I mean, that's probably one of the rarest kits I own, and I've got two of them. And it's the Yak 141, because that VTOL jet was only produced in injection by Art Models, who were a Russian company, I think in 2009, and they've only ever done it once. Right. And these are like rocking horse droppings to get boxed new. I mean, this was all still sealed and everything inside.
But is it a good kit?
It's the only kit.
It'll probably fly
it's
better.
The only kit in injection. Well, yeah, it's not a bad kit. It's the best example you will get. But like these normally change hands. The last time they sold on eBay, which I was just after COVID, I think about 2022, they went for about 75 quid. I managed to pick up two of these for under 45 because they came from house sales where they didn't know what they were selling and they just listed them on eBay. So I think one of them was like 22 quid plus a couple of quid for postage, and the other one again was like 18 quid. But I've got two of these, and these are the kits that I intend to build because I may collect, but I intend to build everything. But anything random like this, anything VTOL, that's my stash. That's what I will do.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like I've got the Anagrand, was it the German VK 190 or whatever their version of the Harrier? It's a 75 quid kit of resin, but I will build it. I will collect it because I want it, but I will certainly always build it.
Fair play. Right. Can we get off stashes now, shall we? Let's find another question, shall we? I've got loads of questions here. So let's go back to the top. Nick Johnson, what is happening with Outlaw Paint? All seems very quiet. I am still selling Outlaw Paints. I've reduced the price of all the railway colours because nobody wanted them. But if you go looking on the website, they're about £3 a bottle. And I promise you, if you're building cars or something, there's a color there that will work perfectly with your vehicle. Okay. They've been sold, and I'm in contact with the new owners. There's going to be a total rebrand. The name Outlaw Paint, there's a real big story behind that. I'm not trying to get into too much detail, but when the company was sold, they realized that the actual brand name was owned by somebody else, and also the ill feeling towards that particular brand is now they felt that they should rebrand it. They've gone through all the paints, and they are at the moment they're reformulating some of them because some of the colors went as it went on. Some of the colours were a little bit off. The later ones were. Luckily, we were okay because we still the stock that we've got are pretty much what they were a year ago. And then as the later stuff, there was the colours where they went to shit, but which we've only got a small sample of, which we're not selling. We've said we lost money on that. We're going to put it to one side. But I'm in contact with the new owners, and I am looking at the future of whether we import it over again. But if we do it, I'm hoping that if we do import, we will try and distribute to model shops. That's the idea. But the website's still there. You can go buy it. And if you contact me via that website, outlawpaints.co.uk, give me a message saying I'm interested in your paints. I'll give you a discount code, right, and knock some money off some of the paint because we want to clear that stock and get in the new labeled stuff. But as I said, I've had sleepless nights over it, as you can imagine. Things haven't gone as brilliantly as I want. I'm trying to be political here, as you can see. As I said, I've spent a lot of money and the last batch was shite. So I've not sold them. They're just in a box in the corner. So I've lost money on that. But I am recouping the money that I put in. The website's all paid for now. So any monies we do get in, we'll probably buy the newer paints. All I'm going to say is that the quality of one thing about formulation was just about the colors. The actual paint spray's fine, everything's good. It's just that some of the later colors that we got in were just off. Like the black primer was never black primer; it was a dark grey. But we are selling it as dark grey. So if you want a decent dark grey primer, they're on the website, and it is a good dark grey. To be fair, I've used it on the tanks and everything. I can't say more than that. I don't want to say too much more, but like I said, there's new owners, and we will be changing the website to a different. Like we're going to call it something like we're going to call it a different name, and we are in the process of getting Icky Sticky. I'm in contact with the owner of Icky Sticky. I'm hopefully going to import Icky Sticky over here. So if you want Icky Sticky stuff, keep an eye out for this. Could we maybe get in a shipload? I'm hoping to contact the next week and put in a big order and get a load of it over here to rebrand the website with. That's all I can say, lads. All right. So if you want to ask questions, please email sales@outlawpaint.co.uk. But I can't say too much here. I'll probably end up fucking crying anyway, Luke, wouldn't I? I end up fucking crying anyway. So that's all I can say about that. All right. That's what you need to know. I think the Tacom Easy builds are great. Thank you, Nick. I think so too. Question. I am currently building the Airfix Eurofighter Typhoon FGR4 starter kit and doing it as blackjack. Have any of you guys made it, and what have you painted it as? Luke.
Yes.
You liked it, didn't you?
I did. Hold on 1 second, mate. I'm just painting a brew.
You're painting a brew?
A brew.
Oh, right, okay.
In 24 scale. Right. Right. This is approaching the end. So there's mine.
Wow. Those invasion stripes. Great decals in those invasion stripes.
You cheeky twat, painted them. So yeah, I think it's a great kit. It's got its issues, it's got some accuracy issues and stuff, but I'm not one that really worries too much about that particular bump is different on the rear. That's not the way I approach. Yeah, I think it's great. And I've painted mine as Moggy, which was the 2024 display, or was it 2025? Yeah. Either or.
2024.
2024 display bird with aftermarket decals, etc. And yeah, I think in that scale for that price, you're not going to get a better Eurofighter. You can get a better Eurofighter in that scale, but you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm going to say was it 20 quid cheaper than the more in-depth one? Is it, Ravel's the next one up, and that's coming up to about
30 for a Ravel one.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't come with the stand, so that says everything to me. The stand's worth everything. Yeah. But I wouldn't build it like the instructions build. I would do it differently.
Yeah, it's got its issues, but I think there's nothing in that kit that is massively insurmountable.
Well, I've got it to do, and I will be doing it in the blackjack scheme as well, because I think that kit in particular sets itself out very well for any display team ones. So be that any RAF display team, Italian, Spanish, even Austrian, anything that's basically got no weapon system on is probably the best kit you're going to get out there. And it doesn't really matter about the inaccuracies. I think the only difference may be one of the sensors on the front of the nose compared to RAF versus everything else, which is just, again, not that hard to change.
I think the the biggest issue with that kit, and if Nigel makes an appearance, he'll talk about it. I wasn't that bothered, but I don't know whether you can see there where the canopy meets the actual aircraft. Hold on.
Is there a bit of a gap nearly, or doesn't quite?
So there's it fits fine, but there's like a bit of a step.
Oh, okay.
Here at the front.
Yeah, a bit of a lip.
So, yeah. So obviously on the real aircraft, there isn't. Nigel went to great lengths to fix that problem by sanding the canopy and smoothing it out so it's flush, like on the real aircraft. That's the main issue with that kit. But if you can live with that, like I can, then you're not going to have any problems.
Did somebody say that if the Red Arrows retired the Hawks, the Typhoon was going to be the plane they were going to use for their? Did I read that somewhere?
I think you've read that on a spoof website because it would not happen.
That's a spoof website. Okay.
That would cost them an absolute
fortune.
No, I was trying to think because when you mention it, then I was just trying to.
It's also not an aerobatic aircraft, the Typhoon, to fly in a display formation like as close as the Red Arrows do. It would be a horrendous to try and keep that in formation.
I was going to say, what would they use instead of a Hawk? What would they use instead of a Hawk?
Well, the way the UK is going, mate, probably an e-bike.
Yeah. No, they'll get that. What is it? The country show team from down your neck of the woods, the Red Barrows.
They'll get the Red Barrows.
Yeah.
Cool, Red Barrows. Yeah.
Well, I was reading it somewhere that because they were talking about the displays and everything, because a lot of people are building those Typhoons in display or what they call it, demo schemes. And somebody said, could they be the next replacement for the Red Arrows?
No.
And those on the forum.
Can you imagine?
I just asked a question.
It's just the money that would be in the air with 9 ships of Typhoon 2s. Can you imagine?
There would be
as far as I understand some of the issues surrounding the Red Arrows. So the government has to balance the PR benefit to having a Royal Air Force display team against how much that's going to cost the taxpayer.
Yeah.
And if you compare the basic cost of a Hawk to a Eurofighter, the Eurofighter is phenomenally more expensive. Yeah. The pilots have to receive so much more training. And although at the moment all the Red Arrows are frontline fast jet pilots, and like Ben said, to try and keep 9 Eurofighters in formation and do aerobatic, it's not that.
No, I just put the question out there. I don't fly planes. I just like them.
Yeah. So the most likely candidate.
I wish there was a display team of Bearcats still, but that's not going to happen, is it?
Well, it'd be nice. But no, I think for the Red Arrows, the replacement. Yeah, no, they are running on biofuel on the RAF.
Bearcats.
Oh, the Bearcats.
Yeah. That would be a cool display team, but they'd have to run on olive oil.
I'd like to weigh in a little bit on this point, if I could, because if you disappear across the pond and look at the 2 display teams that the Americans have, they both use operational aircraft. The Blue Angels use an F-18, and Thunderbirds use an F-16. Both of those aircraft are operational aircraft. Both are fly-by-wire aircraft. Both are 4th generation aircraft, just like the Typhoon. Now,
the only difference.
I'm not quite done. There are circumstances under which Typhoons are flown in very close formation, and they can be. They are maneuverable enough, they are fly-by-wire, and they can be flown with great accuracy. They are faster. The thing about the Hawk is that it is almost an all-weather display aircraft, which makes it very, very different. So many of you will have seen the Hawk flown in low cloud formation and in poor weather formation. And what they do is they fly with the air brake open, which allows them to be maneuverable at lower speeds, and they can still do a goodly number of the maneuvers. I think that what will stop a Typhoon being used as a display team is cost, as we've said. But it could be used, and it's easily. I mean, you're flying at the lower end of the aircraft's operational envelope, certainly, and at the lower end, there's not a lot of headroom or tail room, perhaps. But
the only thing to say as well is that the F-16 and the F-18 are much more stable platforms aerodynamically than a Typhoon. So whilst you can fly a Typhoon, a lot of the work is being done by the computer. Whereas if you were to take the computer away, say from an F-16 or 18, it's more conventional. The other thing with Typhoon as well is the fact of the aerodynamics. Whilst it can fly in close formation, it's generally at altitude, whereby the air is thinner and the turbulence isn't as bad. At low level, what they would be displaying, it's not as good. Cost would be prohibitive. And I mean, the Red Arrows were bought in as a marketing exercise to actually sell the Hawk aircraft mostly. That's not
true, Ben. Sorry, that's not true. They flew the Nat for 14 years.
No, they did. But the Red Arrow, the reason the Red Arrows used the Hawk from the 80s onwards was to sell the Hawk, and the fact that Aeralis, I think it is now, I want to say, the one in Scotland, which are going to build this supposed sort of like new trainer jet that might or might not exist. Again, that's why display teams use basic trainers is to sell them. The Frecce Tricolori are going to the MB346. So
the Delta Wing is a very stable platform to fly. It's been proven for 60 years that is the case. It is fourth generation aircraft, nearly a fifth generation, 4.5 generation, but fourth generation aircraft were built for dogfighting. So they're built for high G, tight turns, all the rest of that sort of thing, which was what was about when that aircraft was initially designed. The F-16 was the first production fly-by-wire aircraft. The F-18 was essentially the carrier version of the YF-17 or the YF-18, which went into competition with the YF-16 for the job of a single fighter. It didn't win, but the Navy took it instead. That's why the Blue Angels fly the 18 and the Thunderbirds fly the 16. I maintain my position that, yes, it could fly in formation and it could do everything that the Red Arrows do, but would probably do it faster. And they could also do a damn sight more as well, because fly-by-wire allows you to be able to do things that standard aircraft can't do. But having said that, I'll take what you say as a good point, because the whole point of a demonstration team is to show the pilot and the aircraft, and to show the skill of the pilot and the skill of the pirate. The skill of the pilot is in flying the aircraft and doing so with great precision within a short distance of 8 other people. So there is a point to be made about that. But
you must have read the same thread that I read. There was only on, I think it was on Facebook. Somebody said if they would, because somebody was saying that the Hawks are getting old. They don't, they are. Is it the oldest Red Arrow is like 78, 1970s? Is it late 70s or early 80s?
Early 80s. Production as a Red Arrows mount in 1964, I think.
Yeah, but the oldest Red Arrow is 1978.
All of those airframes aren't original.
I know that, but I'm just saying,
they're like Trigger's broom.
Yeah, I understand that. What I'm trying to get at is I understand that, but the
Mark 1A is getting old, and it needs to be replaced.
So the limiting factor for any aircraft really isn't in fact hours in the air. It's actually vibration on the airframe.
Yeah.
That's what limits it. That's why the Vulcan doesn't fly anymore, because the airframe won't pass its tests on the vibration scales. So it's vibration, and with a jet aircraft sculling about the sky at 400 or 500 miles an hour, doing tight turns and such like, there's an awful lot of that stuff going on.
I was only just quickly looking through the trouble is with my feed is that even though I'm scale modeling on my mods feed, I get everything aviation comes through on that. Sometimes I pinch it and share it on my mods feed, but most of the time, but I do read a bit of it on there. Right, let's go. Somebody put down a question. Let me quickly have a look. Where was it to? That they didn't like the F-35B starter set because it didn't have any ammunition. Where was that to? If you can find that for me, James, you can find that for me. Put it up again. I can't find it now, but somebody said that they didn't. But what do you expect from a starter set that's been basically designed for somebody that's never built a scale model before? That's what they are. They're not detailed. They are a basic. The F-35B Lightning from Airfix is one of my top 2 models. I will give anyone to. I'd even give them that before I give them a Spitfire, because it is the easiest plane to build, and not only that, it's the easiest one to paint. It's one color.
Yeah.
It's like if there was the top 2 starter set, that's it. I was disappointed in the starter set for the F-35B because of the lack of armaments, but they're not designed for armament. They're designed to get you into scale modeling. If you want to put armaments on them, you buy them yourself. This is the adage. The old question is, how much do you want out of a kit? If you want photo etch and 3D print and armament, that's what you do. I know people who spend 30 quid on a kit and £150 on the aftermarket, Luke. Do you know what I mean? I know these people. They live among us. They're on this chat. I don't
picking on you again, Luke.
Being defensive here.
I mean, I've built the Lightning. I like it. It's a good kit.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's an easy kit. I think it's if you want to do a wheels up Lightning, go for the Airfix one. It's fine. It does the job. Could you add 2 sidewinders simply just to give a bit of excitement? Yeah, you could, but then it's an extra sprue. Then you got to tool it, and is it worth it? Like you say, it's a starter kit. It's designed to be basic and give you a good model. It's a hell of a lot better than when they used to stick, the Seahawk in a starter kit, and you pay the same money. And anyone who's built the Seahawk knows it's bloody awful. So the fact you can have a good Airfix kit that looks the part, is modern, and again, it sort of goes back to what Luke was saying about the Typhoon. It's aimed at the demo, because where would be a good place to sell these? Air shows. Where are most people going to see an F-35? Air shows. Is it going to be the 9s? No, not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
they just wouldn't have weapons on, would they, at air shows?
No, unless they're doing a roll demo. No, they wouldn't.
No.
And
very
rarely
you've got to consider the F-35 is a stealth aircraft. So unless it's in beast mode, it's not going to have any armaments visible anyway.
Exactly.
The only thing it ever carries externally is a 2 AMRAAMs, isn't it?
Very
rare, but they do carry 2 AMRAAMs externally.
You can carry all sorts. So I had this discussion 3-4 years ago, maybe. Actually, with someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. But the whole
is that me again, Luke?
Talking to me at the time.
Is he picking on you, Ross?
In whatever iteration it comes in, whether it be A, B, or C, the whole point is initially when that aircraft is deployed on operations, the enemy don't know it's there. That's the whole point. Once air superiority has been achieved, then you will see operational F-35s in what's known as beast mode, because then they will be doing ground target interdiction, supporting ground forces and everything else. But initially, the F-35 is designed to kill enemy aircraft without the enemy even knowing they're there. And that's why it's a stealth aircraft. So the fact that the starter set doesn't have any armament in, firstly, you're never going to see an armed one at an air show. That's just not going to happen. And even if you want to build one wheels up, operational-ish, it can be in stealth mode, which is its primary purpose, to achieve air superiority.
Yeah.
So the fact it's not got any sidewinders or AMRAAMs in it, who cares?
Yeah.
For 20 quid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with the F-22. I'm trying to see weapons on that.
I'm just going to jump on. Yeah, I get that. We are building models of killing machines, obviously. We are building technological feats as well. So say this Tiger, 1/72nd scale, you're paying 15 quid for it with all the paints, the glue, and the, would you be pissed off that there's no storage on it? There's no extra tracks on it, on the side? No, because it's a starter set. If you want to build a Lightning, you pay your £10 or more, and you'll buy, or you pay your £20 more, or your £30 more, and you get your Tamiya one, which I can assure you is a very good kit, or the artillery one. You don't expect lack of armament, and as you said, like Luke's saying, the F-35B, it's vertical takeoff. It doesn't quite make sense, but only does
current work in progress.
Yeah, that's the one with that masking set. Yeah,
and you get all the armaments, the weapons base detailed, etc. 72nd scale. But like you say, it's more expensive because there's more in it, and I'm not even going to put the armaments on it. So Airfix have hit the mark, really.
Yeah, that's right. He's right. Richard's right there.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason it's got sidewinders, for example, on the carrier one, because that's where probably people have seen it, is 617 and 809 Squadron, Naval Air Squadron. They do a lot of publicity with the AMRAAMs on the wingtips, because that is standard for carrier ops, because generally, if they're doing fleet defenders, they know there's an F-35 roughly somewhere. So that's why they have them on the outside. And I don't think in the UK currently, the weapons bay is officiated to take the the sidewinders internally at the minute. It's a bit like it's not also, I don't think it's certified for Meteor or not Brimstone, Storm Shadow internally. So there's a few things that actually it hasn't caught up with yet. And like the Americans, where you see the beast mode and everything, the Marine ones that's where they're like that. But that's also because the Americans use their Bs in a different way to we would. They'll be stealth fighter cover normally in the F-35C or whatever with the Marine ones, whereas the Marine one is designed to pound the beach wherever the Marines are landing, like the Harrier.
Yeah. And to Richard's point there, that whilst in stealth mode it can carry JDAM, LGB, etc. Yes, it can. However, it won't do that, or it won't carry them externally, I should say, until air superiority is achieved.
Yeah.
So, yes, it can carry them in stealth mode, but that would be to attack ground targets whilst air superiority is in question. So the idea, again, being it can kill the enemy don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
So the only time I would argue that you'll see one in beast mode is once air superiority has been achieved. Because otherwise there's no point having a stealth aircraft.
Right, let's move on. Celtic West, my friend, CCC. What subject genres are underrepresented in kit? The B word is excluded. There's loads. There's loads unrepresented. I think there's not enough Tiger ones. There's not enough Tiger ones. There's
Spitfire.
Spitfire. You know what, right? Be honest. Let's put out there. I think the Hurricane's given a bad rap when it comes to scale models.
But I think as this genre, the single prop World War II aircraft that's pretty well covered as a genre.
Yeah.
What I would like to see more of as a genre is kind of civilian stroke plant machinery, that sort of stuff, and good quality. I mean, you can get them, but you pay an absolute premium for them.
Of course you do.
I would love to see them in either 35th scale, 24th scale, like proper plant civilian machinery. I know Hasegawa do some, but I think it is underrepresented, and I think it would be quite popular.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going to be Cold War ships, specifically Royal Navy ships, in 350 or any scale, because basically there is very little to none. The only one that's obviously done one recently is 4R, and that Type 42 was superb. And I think if brands actually got behind doing Royal Navy Cold War ships, and certainly, you know, from the 40s up to modern day, they'll have a field day with modelers. That's what I think is underrepresented.
Yeah, you're quite right. I've got the Apache digger as well with the 2 arms. I looked at it, put it back in its box when I bought it. It's too much for me. But you are right. That's the tandem roller from Hasegawa there. I paid 20 quid for it, by the way, at Scale Model Show. But I think they're about 45. If you want to buy them now, they're about 45 quid. They're not cheap. I think Airfix have found a bit of what do they call it? You know, when they find gold in rock, what do they call that?
Nuggets.
Yeah, they found a bit of. I think they've mined. I think they found a gold trail in rock.
I think they found a seam.
A seam.
Seam, yeah. They found a little bit of a gold seam when it comes to 135th. But not post-war, but yeah, post-war.
Cold War,
post-war. So if you look at what they've been producing, the Ferret Scout, the Stalwart, you know, I'm waiting for a Dingo to come along. I'm waiting for, there's
to some extent.
Bedford QL.
I think if you look at what we haven't got in 135th when it comes to vehicles, not tanks, but shall we say rubber wheeled.
Yeah,
I think there's a stem there that Airfix are going for.
But that's quite logical for them to do that. Yeah. It's a good logical decision to cover certainly British armoured vehicles of the Cold War period, because let's be honest, the Second World War's been done to death on a lot of subjects.
Yeah.
There's lots of people. It's also going out of living memory now.
Careful. You'll upset everyone. I said that a few weeks ago and people
but it's true. It is a matter of fact, it is going out of living memory. And most people who are veterans nowadays are veterans of conflicts in the Cold War, you know. And even the veterans of the very early Cold War conflicts, it's slowly moving out of memory.
Yeah.
The thing is that brands will have to keep shifting a little bit, because sadly one day the Second World War and certainly maybe First World War subjects will become like the people that play with the 17th century figures on the tables, where everyone sort of points and looks at them and go, "Oh, what are they doing? They're old models. They're playing, you know, with that." Whereas eventually, it will move into the present day, because that's what people build. And I think the fact we're seeing more Cold War subjects across all genres, including armor, aircraft, and like I was saying with ships, is a signal that Second World War won't be left behind, but it's time for a new market, time for a new place to go and start moving towards. Because I think they will find eventually the running joke of you can only do so many Spitfires, or Second World War stuff will become true to some extent.
Yeah, but the Spitfire will eventually become the Sopwith Camel, won't it?
Yeah.
Well, will it? Will it though?
Will.
I just, listen, we had, what was it called? What was that film by Christopher Nolan? And you had
Dunkirk.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of, when you had, what's he called?
Tom Hardy.
in a cockpit of a Spitfire. You know, 50 Shades of Grey all over again for the women at the cinema. They, you know,
but it wasn't. They couldn't see his face. He had a mask on.
Yeah, I understand that. That was a good thing, actually. She watched the whole movie without having to go, "What's going on?" But when you got films that still have Spitfires in that historic role, I think in the conscience of the mind, you know, we can have the debate now on whether the Hurricane or the Spitfire won World War II or the Battle of Britain, and you'll have those who say the Hurricane did. You'll have those who say that the Spitfire did. But the Spitfire has always been the
iconic,
the iconicness of it.
Yeah, it's a symbol of the fight.
Yeah, and the fact is that there are just so many marks you could play with so many schemes.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, is that for when I was a child, I had my grandparents directly. They didn't fly or they weren't pilots, but my great uncle was on 617 Squadron. And he was in the Tirpitz raid. So I always wanted to do, and I've still not done one because they've not really done a decent kit, a Tirpitz raid Lancaster or build the Tirpitz being bombed or however. But that's because I had a family connection to it, and that fact that generation flew those aircraft. If you look at like my age or younger, their grandparents would have flown or operated on Cold War stuff. So they don't have that link back to the Second World War directly. They may have a grandfather who was actually a pilot who learned to fly on Jet Provost and then he flew Lightnings. So they'll want to build a Lightning, for example. They won't want to build a Spitfire because that generation has jumped one now.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a lot into it of what people then build is personal attachment to the subject they're modelling.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you raise it well, but it's just when you hear, I always remember when I first met Luke when he was the defector who went from Airfix to Revell. His first speech to us was, "We do Spitfires because they sell," but I'd love to know back in what the stats are from the year 2000 to now. Just are Spitfires still the best sellers as they once were? That's
probably
what
are.
But
you've only got to look at how many Spitfires have been retooled in the last 10 years.
That's the point, isn't it? The market decides, and there, there are a lot of high-end Spitfires. Over 75 quid, shall we say? Shall we call that high-end? It might not be, but it's a good description. There's an awful lot of those being developed, and they're being developed for people who are, my bloody age, past it, over the hill, gone on, whatever. I think that there are other areas where we might find underused genre, and that would be quite close to what Ben's saying there with relation to 1950s, 1940s, 1960s, and that's experimental aircraft. So there's a wealth of those around, and the British aircraft companies were coming up with almost a new one every third week or something, it seems like. And I think people, things like the Supermarine 525 or the Miles M52 or the Bristol 188, and there are endless versions. The DH-108 Swallow, the DH-110, and so on. There's a wealth of things that you could look at that would then demonstrate the historical development of aircraft from the, shall we say, 1938 Gloucester Gladiator, wooden built aircraft to 7 years later, monocoque construction, aluminium and steel aircraft, and then supersonic jet aircraft, and away on from there. You could build a history with that, and I think some people maybe want to do that.
I'm going to take Little History's point here because he's just. I'm going to just listen. I don't believe for a second it's got anything to do with living memory. In my opinion, it's more to do with legend and fame. Nothing modern can hold a candle to the legends of World War II. And I kind of get that because if you look at my likes of planes, I like the Bearcat. It did fuck all. I like the English Electric Lightning that won a battle between the MiG and the F-14, whatever it was, against Concorde, but they didn't do anything. The same as the Vulcan. The Vulcan really only came into fruition because they bombed a runway in the Falklands. They did fuck all else. So
no, see, I disagree with that.
No, I disagree with that at all.
In living memory, you've got the Spitfire was always lauded as the one that won the war, or the Battle of Britain. That's what I'm trying to get at. The English Electric Lightning, I'm just trying to get that point of what if you. I was watching a video 2 weeks ago with my missus, and it was going through the Keswick, through the Lake District. And out of them all, she couldn't name a single one of those planes, but she named the Spitfire.
Yeah. How old's your missus?
Pardon?
How old's your missus?
Well, yeah, I can't say that. She's younger than me. She's younger than me.
So if you said to a 5-year-old,
yeah,
you're going to get a different answer on it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know what a plane was, would they? At 5, let's do a meme.
And the thing is, you're being very aircraft focused.
Yeah.
So I certainly disagree on the Vulcan point.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the nuclear deterrent through the Cold War and V-Force,
yeah, I get that.
That aircraft did a lot and prevented the UK from being subject to nuclear war. That's what that aircraft did. All right, it might not have been operational in the same way as a Spitfire or a Hurricane in the Battle of Britain. However, deterrent means everything. That's why we have a nuclear deterrent. No one knows where those submarines are. However, if they weren't there, there'd be a problem. That's the reality. So I distree with that. When you're talking about,
I was trying to talk about they went in battle, as in we heard on the news that they went and done this. Apart from the Falklands, that's what I'm trying to get at. And
when you're talking about aircraft from a modelling point of view, I find single prop World War II aircraft and World War I type aircraft a much more interesting modelling subject than a fast jet, because the possibilities of what you can do to that model, weathering wise and everything else, there's more that you can do more, so it captures your interest more. Plus then you have the history and everything else. But I'm in my mid-40s, and I would say that at most scale modelling shows, I'm one of the youngest people there.
Yeah.
So if hobbyists, scale modelers want to capture a younger audience that are going to remain scale modelers for the next 4 or 5 decades, then this old adage of World War II, World War I, manufacturers, in my opinion, need to update the genres that they tackle. Like Zinzan said, Cold War is a massive one. Ben said the same. If you're talking about vehicles, I would argue that there are many, many modern vehicles now, or certainly within the last 20 to 30 years, that actually, from an achievement in combat, have achieved way, way more than a lot of World War II subjects.
Okay. Yeah.
I would, and that's just the reality. But things like plant machinery and all that stuff that's very underrepresented, which was the original question, space, that's massively underrepresented.
Yeah, definitely.
All these genres will capture the imagination of people because they are in living memory. I would defy anyone here to tell us, who the current top 10 NASA astronauts are.
Yeah. Wouldn't have a clue.
I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't be able to name them. But the space station is cool as shit.
Yeah.
if a manufacturer produced a good kit and it became more popular, it's going to capture people's imagination that perhaps don't want to build the software cam because it doesn't capture their imagination. They don't want to build the Spitfire because it doesn't capture their imagination.
Yeah, they can't relate to it, is what I've found.
Yeah, they can't relate to it. Yeah, they can't. Yeah. Which goes back to the living memory. They can't relate to it unless there's a link. We can relate to it. I can relate to it in my mid-40s because my grandparents lived through the Second World War.
Generation.
Yeah. And I'm probably the last generation where I'm 24, so I'll be 25 in September. So I'm probably within a year or two of me, I'm probably the last or the youngest who would have relatives who were in the war at a point where they weren't children. They were active, a veteran of some form. And so I can still relate to the Second World War. I still get enjoyment out of building the subjects. Yeah. Like my step-grandfather, for example, was in the Merchant Navy. That he went on the Arctic convoys and that. So I can relate to doing things around him. But if I didn't have that, I would default to the Cold War or to more modern stuff. So like current Air Force and Navy, because that's my day job. That's what I relate to. That's just it's something that would take my interest. It's a bit like, that's why I don't do 17th century models with their Napoleonic figures, because it's just not my bag. I don't have any relation to it. I don't feel it. So
but I think going back to the original question, there are lots of genres out there. Not aircraft. Aircraft's done to death by the hobby. It is. There's so many aircraft subjects out there. There is, but there's not many plant machinery subjects. There's not many space subjects. So they are massively underrepresented in the hobby. Massively.
Well, I'm just waiting for Tesla to bring out. Tamiya to bring out the Tesla, and then everything will be all right in the world. That's the car.
Set them on fire, right? Remember when you were a kid, you would build a model and blow it up.
It'll burn for about 4 years.
If you know what, right? Even Nigel got his GR Yaris. You know what I mean? And I just said the other day that, my son, he's, was he 18, 19 now or whatever? He knows Tesla. He's all the kids heard of Tesla. Because that's the thing, it's Elon Musk is a very clever man. He may be clever, but he's you look at the 5 companies he's developed. Okay, the 5 companies. Have I ever talked to you about this? Look at the 5 companies. So the electric car, it's all about the Mars mission. The electric car, everybody will need to go around in electric cars because there's no petrol on Mars. So battery power is important. The solar batteries, they're going to need batteries on Mars, and solar panel. That's why you've got the tiles being created. The Boring Company. You won't be able to live on the surface of Mars. A lot of it, you're going to have to be building tunnels. So there you go, the tunnels. AI, Grok. You're going to have to develop Grok, to work in Mars, to do the calculations and everything. And the latest thing is his bloody robots. You're not going to send men and women to Mars to build the colonies. You're going to send robots. So all these 5 things he's making on this Earth now to develop is everything that you'll need.
I'm getting Terminator vibes from this.
Oh yeah, you will do. We're all going to
AI, robots, drilling, colonies. Oh my god.
Elon Musk is Skynet. That's what Grok is. It's Skynet.
Yeah, that's what it is, Skynet.
But I'm 46. I've only got about 30 years left, and I smoke, so I'm not too worried, to be honest. But
there's a great comment in the chat there from Lox9. A brand new tool, 72nd scale oil rig.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
No one's ever done one, have they? Don't think.
Yes. Was it Raval that did one?
No, that was a power station, right?
Somebody's done an oil rig, but I don't know what scale it was.
But it's crap. But if someone did a brand new tool, good quality 72nd oil rig, Take my money.
Oh, you're right. Revell did a 1 to 200 scale, the North Cormorant offshore oil rig.
It may have been a rebox of an earlier.
Yeah, it was 1980s kit, and they reboxed it 2015, 10 years ago. So, give it another 5 years, and it'll be back.
Yeah,
brand new.
It'll be called new, and it'll be called something else.
No, hey, it'll come in a flappy box. That's all you need, lads. It'll come in a flappy box. I've seen their new boxes. I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
it'll come in a box full of water.
It does look a little. It does look a bit Kinder Surprise, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Christ.
Yeah.
If Lego made that, it wouldn't sell.
Yeah. But in the right designer's hands, the right manufacturer and the right tooling in it and everything else that is all part of it, an oil rig is a fantastic subject.
But would it sell from that first release? That's the way Airfix look at it. How many releases can we get out of this tooling?
Well, you could do BP, you could do Shell.
No, you couldn't.
Esso.
You couldn't. In theory, because every oil rig was different. You know, my cousin worked on one off, and he showed me the all. You could look around; they were all so different. You know, the cranes in different positions. And also, I don't think there's that many left. I think it was more of the gas ones, not the oil, in it. They normally the only ones that are really left are the gas ones that are being built now, isn't it? They want to get the gas out, don't they? Than the oil ones.
I mean,
I
do
don't know.
You get figures with it or not?
Oh, at 1 to 200 scale.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you could have a little boat with Greenpeace on it.
That would be fantastic.
You could have one with millipede at the bottom of it.
You could have a little Bruce Willis and a little Ben Affleck, couldn't you?
You could.
Yeah, that would work.
That's a better picture, to be fair. But this is limited edition, so this would have come. This would have come with the book. This one, because it's limited edition.
And probably photo etch and everything.
Yeah. As noticed, I haven't got the shell and the shell and the Esso on that one, or BP or anything. So that's a special edition. But I'm just trying to see how many parts it has. It doesn't say how many parts. It just says it was 68.5 centimeters. It's quite wide, isn't it? You know, it's half a meter wide.
That's a big one.
It's a big bit of kit. But imagine the photo etch on there. I bet Nigel would get a slippy on that, wouldn't he? He'd level that on the
most of the kit
flame at the side.
Yeah.
But any man who's good at photo etch is he's amazing. Jock's model bench. Moz, did you get the new Display airbrush? I did get it. It's here. And I haven't tested it yet. Is it in there? No, it's not in there. It's somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. No, it's not. Is it up in? Oh, here it is. Put it in a box. So I'm there. It is. So that's the Display airbrush. Apparently, you don't have to clean it. You just put your paint in the bottle, and away you go. The bottle's too big. You want it half that. You want a little bottle. Like you want that to be the same size as a Tamiya bottle. That's what you want. The needles, you've got to adjust it up and down to make sure that the needle's correct. If I just put the magnifier on. So basically, you're blowing air through and that needle, and it will push the air. It will grab what's it called? Suction the paint out.
Yeah,
I haven't used it yet. I'm waiting for the paints to come from what's it called? Gallery. So I'm going to use this Display because I think the bottles come about that size, and then see if I can just, because apparently they're straight to airbrush these Display things. I just use that. But that's the new one. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. You only get 5 bottles. You get 100 needles, 0.3 and 0.5. Does it feel a bit gimmicky? Yes. Is that annoying? Yes. It's I don't know. We'll have a go with it anyway, and we'll see. But I've ordered it. I got it. and then we'll have a go at it next week or something. Emma Bird I want to get to. Hi guys, why do people use overall black primer? Doesn't modern paint adhere properly? I think black and white is the standard for pre-shading. If you were doing a tank, wouldn't you, Luke? You would spray it black and then add the white in the areas you want a bit lighter. Then you go over the top.
Yeah, I mean, there's several reasons really, particularly with armor, is why you would use a black primer. So pre-shading being one of them. That's probably the easiest way to achieve that. But what you will also see is that people will prime an armored vehicle or a tank in grey, and then they will pick out panel lines and rivets, etc., in black.
Yeah.
And it all depends on what your top color is going to be, because whatever your primer color is absolutely going to have an impact on the way the top coat looks. And it's a bit of test and adjust, really. I think people use black predominantly because it's I don't want to say it's easy to achieve a shaded panel, but it's the easiest way of doing it. But as people's skill set develops, etc., like pre-shading traditionally would be black and white or black and a very light grey.
Yeah.
But for example, depending on what your top color is, people will pre-shade with blues, greens, reds. It all depends. It's not a lot to do. Modern paints now, certainly lacquer-based paints, they don't really need a primer. So, for example, today I started work on the Tamiya RA. Is it the RA272, the Mexico 65 Formula One winner?
Oh yeah.
I think you've built it, John, in the past, haven't you? So this engine that I've started work on, there's no primer on that at all. That was sprayed initially in Tamiya LP1, which is like their standard black, but it has a slightly glossy finish. And then it's been sprayed in super metallics, and there's still a lot to do on it, obviously. So there was no primer on that at all. But then other people, if they're spraying metallics, would firstly use a gloss black primer to increase the depth of the metallic color and the shine. It's so variable.
Yeah.
Black primer is kind of the go-to because it makes that pre-shading process much easier.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's I only prime because I want to pre-shade. And if I'm doing inside a cab or something, or inside a tank, or inside a cockpit, I'll just spray it straight on. Interior green, bomb, and then use either a wash on top. But if I was doing the wings, I tend to do a grey, and then I put the black in the panel lines, and then blend them in using the green and the brown. But if I do a tank, I always spray it all black, just the surface off, or outdoor paints black. And then where there's curves and where I think the light is going to reflect more on the paint.
Yeah.
Remember, and I think the reason why, and this may go for some of you, when I do a plane, I like a nice satin finish. So the grey, the black panel lines going over green. But when I'm doing a tank, it's pure matte. So I think that's why I tend to go black, then highlight with the white, go over with the paint, and then I tend to put the decal straight onto a matte paint. Now I don't use a satin or a gloss finish. Paint on, really bed that down using the Microsol, and then I matte coat on top of that. And I think that's why I tend to go black right over them white highlights with tanks or armor, and then vice versa, more grey a light grey, not a dark grey, a light grey on my planes, and then the black highlights for the panel lines. And there's always, I've seen people spraying black and then highlight the panel lines and just do a lot more white. But now if you do the grey, the light grey, and then go over the panel lines with the black, I use less paint, and I haven't got to faff about filling in every panel line. LPJ models is fantastic. You want to see a plane done with that effect, black primer, and then going over the panels with white, and then blending it goes little, then he blends it all in, then goes over his colour. That's the man to watch. And I'm lazy when it comes to modelling, and I think because of the satin finish I like on my planes, I tend to go that way around. Anyone else agree with that, or is it just me?
I don't do it that way.
No.
I tend to go down the route of like LPJ does it. That's how I do it. But that is time intensive. There's a couple of good points in the chat. So someone's saying if you're using like PE or resin or whatever on a styrene kit, the benefit of a primer coat at that point is it unifies the color. So that's quite important. If you're using acrylics like Celtic West says, then you're going to need a primer because acrylic doesn't adhere particularly well to styrene as a rule. But like this one, which is again a work in progress, so the silver is to me an LP straight onto styrene. So depending on the paint, you don't necessarily need a primer coat. But another point that's been raised is that a primer coat will highlight any sort of imperfections, any seam lines, any sinkage or whatever. So in that sense, it's important.
Yeah, in particular, light grey will do that. It's
very good. And if you look at most manufacturers that are displaying, whether it be a new tool or something they want to sell and they're photographing it or whatever, most of them will make sure that entire model is that light grey color because it accentuates detail. It's just a visual thing that we have, and if you prime something like grey, the entire thing, firstly, it looks quite cool as just a primed model, and it will accentuate detail and stuff. But then you move into things like if you're using Mr. Surfacer primers and that sort of stuff, they've got a micro filling capability built into the paint, and so they can be sanded and deal with seams, and there's so many variables. So.
I know somebody who does that as well, Graham, that uses direct oxide primer on tanks.
Yeah,
the reason he does that is so that he can chip it. That's the only reason.
But if you're spraying, if your piece of armor is going to be Dunkelgelb, for example, then if you prime that in red oxide or a dark mahogany type brown, such as there are others available. Mr. Surfacer and mahogany, then what you naturally do is you increase the depth and vibrancy of Dunkelgelb, for example, or desert yellow or whatever. Because if you use black, it takes the I don't even know the right word, I'm not an artist, but the density of the color is affected and the depth of the color.
It's the same with spraying red. People say spray red on top of yellow, or they say use pink if you're doing a yellow coat. There's so many different techniques out there. But
it's like I'm a firm believer, and I've shown it on the channel on the T55 African Union build. If you're spraying something white, put it over a black primer. Because what you will do is firstly it enables you to get a bit of shading and stuff because white's a difficult color to shade, and it increases the depth of the white. And it's there to see. I'll show it.
Grey
But
primer.
that's counterintuitive. Most people are, why are you spraying white over black? Why would you do that? But it works.
The reason I've always sprayed when I've done it with white over black is that it takes off that edge. It's like I always remember when I was in theatre, if you had a white shirt, the first thing they would do is chuck it in a washing machine with a black pair of socks, because it takes that like dazzle out of the white. And I think that's what you're coming across here. It takes that dazzle out of the white. Yeah. CCC, also the red oxide is a good base when salt hairspray is weathering. Yeah, that's why a lot of people do it.
Metal really shows up defects.
Yeah.
Does anybody use the primer though that's accurate to what the full size would have, had underneath? So, like for example, German tanks a lot of the time with red oxide.
No.
Aircraft are tending to be primed in sort of like nearly the British Spitfire cockpit green, but just a slightly lighter shade.
No.
Does anyone do that or not?
Not unless, like Graham said in the chat, if I know I'm going to be using sort of salt or hairspray chipping down to a primer coat, then potentially I would. But I very rarely do chipping in that way now.
Yeah, I do, and I have done in the past. I did it on a Corsair, which uses zinc chromate yellow over the bare metal.
Yeah.
So I sprayed a bare metal color over the top of the primer, then sprayed zinc chromate yellow on all the metal parts, and then sprayed the glossy sea blue over that. And you can then scrape that away with a piece of really fine glass paper. It has to be really fine, but you can scrape it away and get wear marks. So you get through to the yellow and then you get through to the metal. And if you want to rub it a lot more, then you get through to the plastic, but you have to be really, shall we say, not careful. But it's a nice effect.
Which is why now I tend to stay away from that method for chipping. Did it for years and years and years. But I found that actually doing other methods of chipping afterwards gives me more control. Does that make sense? But if you're going down to a primer coat, then try and prime it in what the original primer color would have been. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think, as I say, it seemed to work for me anyway. And on the 148 scale kit, it looked all right. I don't know whether it's going to look very good on the 132 I'm doing, but we'll see.
And I think that's another thing to bear in mind, isn't it? Because just because something was originally primed in red oxide, for example, the real thing, it doesn't mean that that's going to look effective at a smaller scale. It does, because you get into all sorts of things about the scale effect of color and all that sort of stuff. Bronze green is a classic example, which was the British Army's green of choice, certainly during the early Cold War before they went to NATO colors. If you paint something in bronze green, it looks like a big black blob. That's it. That's what it looks like at this scale. But in reality, that vehicle doesn't look like a big black blob, So it's all swings and roundabouts, really. Yeah.
Paul, email me on that one, because that just when you're doing the rigging on a Tamiya 1350 of Tirpitz,
acupuncture needle and super glue.
Yeah, acupuncture needle, super glue. Just do that, and just an accelerator as well. Do you ever use accelerator? Just spray it on the.
I have it on, so I don't spray it. I've got pipettes.
Yeah, you dip it in.
I dip it in, and then literally, so it's literally only a little bit goes on, because if you spray the whole thing, it just sometimes will strip the paint off.
Yeah.
But just a lot of the time, I don't actually tend to rig, because rigging is always a thing that gets caught when you're moving models and will break stuff. So I don't actually tend to rig any of my models because of that reason.
Yeah. A primer color different than the final color will help determine if you're getting the full coverage and not getting thin spots in some areas. Yeah, I get that. I think we've gone through all the questions. Just going to quick through. What's that engine from again, Peter's Model Car Customs was asking Luke. That engine you put up with
from the Tamiya RA272, which was the Honda Formula One car that won the 1965 Mexico Grand Prix.
Is that the one that Tamiya nearly went to court about because they saw it at an airport and they were that accurate with their? Yeah, I think that's the one. I think Honda. They even got the battery placed and everything absolutely spot on just by visualizing and taking notes. Mm-hmm. And apparently they were for corporation espionage they were looking at. They couldn't believe that Tamiya had produced such an accurate kit. But you got to remember that, you know, God rest his soul, he bought a £200,000 Porsche to strip it to see how it goes together, to build the most accurate Porsche there was.
And that's the exact reason I'm building that. As you all know, I'm not a car builder by any stretch of the imagination. But currently on Black Rifle, we're running a Tamiya group build. Sort of in honor of Mr. Tamiya.
Oh, right.
And that's why I'm building that kit for that group build.
And that's why I'm building
as a non-car builder, like you can't really get it wrong. It is that good.
Yeah. I'm building
and I know nothing about the subject at all. I'm literally following the instructions and gluing bits of styrene together. I have no clue. Tomorrow will be interesting because I'm going to try and wire the engine and put fuel lines on the engine. And I have no clue what I'm doing. No clue at all. So that will be an interesting few hours, I'm sure.
I'm doing the M36 for your group build. Mm-hmm. Just to have I'm loving it. It's a really good kit. Absolutely, you know, nothing can go wrong really. Apart from
I've got the F35B to do with a printed engine.
Just do an Airfix one and pretend it's the Tamiya one, mate. Nobody will know.
We'll know.
Well, the problem is I'm going to do it as an American scheme, and the American scheme has AMRAMs on it on the wingtips, so we'll know that way.
But Pete's saying, no idea what the kit's like. I mean, John Alex built one. I know John Alex built one. Now, as a non-car builder, I can only speak as to what the kit's like. Accuracy and everything else, I wouldn't know. But it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
Question: when will Airfix bring out a new 148 scale Merlin to go with the Sea King? They've already got one.
They've already got one.
I've got one.
They've already got one, mate.
It's a good kit too.
And
isn't it only the Commando version though?
It's the Herrick.
It's the RAF one, isn't it?
Herrick. No, not the RAF. It's the Herrick one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Herrick, which is
an RAF one. Because the army never had them.
Yeah, I think that I will wait for the Royal Navy version to come with the anti-submarine.
I don't know how much. I'm sure in my head it would be quite a simple thing for them to add some extra sprues and use that tooling to make it into a Navy version. But I'm sure it's not that straightforward. You know,
there are different bits with it. So.
Well,
Pardon?
Dale was on an Airfix and Chill episode and we talked about it. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Will you tell us, should we re-release that Merlin?
Yeah,
because it's so different how it looks now than what we tooled it as, because it had been upgraded to so much." And we said, "Yeah, fuck it. It's not been released in 15 years. Just do it." And also, the ones on eBay now are 80 quid.
Yeah,
so if you about 25, we'll be laughing.
But a couple of points on that. So it's a common misconception by a lot of people that the Royal Air Force has combat helicopters. No, it doesn't.
No, they don't.
It has transport helicopters that go into combat zones, but it's the Army Air Corps that have combat helicopters, Apaches, etc., etc. So that's the first one. And I remember when that kit was released, everyone was moaning and said the sprues were warped because the tail of the helicopter is slightly bent.
Yeah.
But actually, on the real aircraft, it is
slightly bent.
Bent. It's not a fault of the kit. The kit is accurate.
Yeah, it's like all these tracks with SAG, you know, and they don't come with SAG. Yes, they do. Honestly. You give them rubber band tracks, then they'll be complaining. Right, it's 5 to 9. If you have any more quick questions, put them in the chat. I think we've answered quite a lot, even though we spent 15 minutes on stash. And then we still decided on what we've done tonight. We talked about the Vulcan. I'm still not convinced. It was hidden. It wasn't historical. You know, it wasn't always in the paper every day where the Spitfire was in there.
If it was in the paper every day, something had gone wrong by that point.
Yeah, they failed in their mission. Yeah.
Did you know the Vulcan successfully nuclear bombed New York twice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
but it's like a lot of stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
If it becomes public knowledge, then they've failed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was funny because
how often do you think QRA aircraft are scrambled?
Yeah,
but probably once every 2 or 3 months, the Daily Fail will report on someone's heard a boom somewhere, and it must be the Eurofighters have intercepted a bear over the channel or something.
Yeah,
but the reality is those aircraft are up all the time.
Yeah, they are.
Well, it's a bit like, I don't know if you the Daily Mail and people are picking it up here. Obviously the Chinese in their little area of control that they want were chasing a Filipino fishing boat or whatever, and they're both a Chinese destroyer, Navy destroyer, and a Coast Guard. Clearly, the two captains weren't trying to talk to each other because they both went to cut the Philippine ship off and then rammed straight into each other. And in front of the destroyer, there's now a great big hole where the Coast Guard ship's gone into.
I just saw that. I just saw that.
Well, there you go. Yeah. But it's like stuff like that. It's not generally reported, but it happens.
Yeah. So now they've reported on it because those captains have failed, haven't they? It's resulted in a collision. Whereas if they'd have achieved their mission successfully, no one would ever have known about it.
The thing is, though, like if you look at the Spitfire, it was the #1 propaganda machine for World War II. You know, you look at the Blackpool Spitfire that they released. They released that starter set Blackpool.
Yeah, but what about the Lancaster? If we talk about propaganda?
You know, propaganda. It's all propaganda where we don't use our planes, trains, automobiles now for propaganda. And in fact, we wouldn't believe it anyway, because a lot of what's put in the Daily Fail and everything's fucking shite anyway. It's
But propaganda is meant to be somewhat believable with an element of the truth where it's exaggerated. Whereas, as you say, you go into the Daily Fail, there is no element of truth to be found. It's just a story made up by somebody, to which you then go, what?
It's like the old
and I think that the world has changed. The world has changed massively.
Yeah.
So when you look at the comparative cost of a Spitfire back in 1940 to the comparative cost now of an F-35B with all the training, the armaments, and everything else, governments are very reticent now to put as much information out there as perhaps they did during the 40s, early 50s even, because it's a secret. They don't want it. They don't want the world to know. And many states, including the UK, the US, they all have hostile agents that are trying to find out what the Russians are doing, what the Chinese are doing. They're doing the same to us. So everything is much more tightly controlled now than it ever was.
Yeah, definitely. And also the thing is, people say, oh, mainstream media, you know, nobody believes them. Look, your Facebook feed is full of newspapers with the most clickiest, baitiest titles going. What was it the other day? Oh yeah, Prince William and Kate were really heartbroken to hear this. And you click the link, you have to go through 5 different adverts, you know, accept all or pay for it or whatever it was. And it was one of their dogs that broke their foot. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, you know, it's like.
But if you want a really clickbaity one, just the weekend just gone, and I have had this verified, it did happen, and the place was informed. So over the weekend, the BBC Good Food, or what was BBC Good Food website, released an article regarding cacio e pepe, which is like an Italian dish, which is like pecorino cheese and pasta and pepper. That's it. Nothing else. That's it. The Good Food website decided to change that recipe to add double cream, to which is like sacrilege for the Italians. So the Italians were in uproar about this, and they actually, so their version of like the restaurant union, who basically represents all the official top Michelin star restaurants in Italy, wrote an open letter to the British Embassy in Rome saying how disgusted they were, and they wanted an official apology, and this was being noted as a diplomatic incident.
It's never right.
Brought up. Oh, it's mental. It was brought up within the embassy. It was brought up, and it was reported that it is, and I can confirm it was true. It did happen, it's gone as far as New Zealand and Australia. That story.
Bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. You know, we live in a time where I can't buy Zvezda kits out of principle, and they're releasing some of the best space models I've ever seen. It's like, you can't win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why are Jadlam selling Zvezda kits?
Yeah,
because well, you know what? Every single scale model shop is, and I think PM Models, one of the biggest Ukrainian model shops, is selling Zvezda, Winter Studios, everything. So, you know, what do you do?
I commented on this very issue on a Facebook group later last week. So there seems to be a thing at the moment. I would call it virtue signaling, where anyone that builds a Russian subject or uses a Russian manufactured kit or aftermarket, whatever, gets berated on the internet by a distinct group of individuals.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, Mars. So Quinta Studios is a Russian company. It's now based in Kazakhstan, I believe, but it's Russian owned. PM Models is a Ukrainian owned company that carry the full range of Quinta Studios.
Yeah.
So if they're not getting out their pram over it, why are we?
I as I said, morally, I've got the opportunity to get the Vostok and the latest one. What's it called? Fucking hell, it's called now. It's got the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I've got the opportunity to get them at trade price, but I haven't. And I think one of the reasons is that if I did build it on this channel, my ASO would be bigger than it is now. Well, I'd have a second.
The only thing I would say was,
because my next video build, as voted for by the subscribers, is the best of BM20.
Hey, steady on, Luke. At this rate, you'll be sharing with Tommy Robinson. Do you know what I mean? Steady on there, mate.
But there again,
you'll be doing interviews on Dan Wootton and Piers Morgan. I didn't build this model. And the women came at me, you know. Oh dear.
But like Moz, for Telford this year, I've got the Carrier Strike Group 21, and it's going to have about 5 to 6 Russian aircraft, probably, which some will be Zvezda. They are going to be on the table as a point of education. They're not being used as a propaganda tool or anything. And I've even calling that section to go along with the Chinese aircraft I've built, which are now up there and done, which are inquisitive adversaries. That's what we're calling them. We're keeping it neutral. But people can't get in a hot spot about the fact of reality. It's a reality that this conflict is ongoing. Yeah. Let's be frank. The taxes, etc., have gone to the Russian state already by those kits being over here. You not buying them is not going to make a difference, because basically Zvezda will keep producing them and just sell them internal to Russia. Yeah. You are not, it's not going to be like that. Sorry, that's not how it works. The Russian economy is surviving on oil exports, etc. It's not surviving on you buying a model kit.
Yeah, so the gas and everything's still going to Germany, isn't it? Allegedly. So
it
is. Yeah.
Well, look at India, for example. India buys a load of Shadow Fleet oil, to which the Americans have gone, right, we're going to slap 50% on you if you keep doing that. And the Indians have gone, oh. So people really should not fret over the fact about the kits. You wish to build them, build them.
Yeah.
As long as you're not sitting there going, the war is great, etc. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one. And as
We
I
make
made the
models,
point.
not policy, basically.
Yeah, as I said, I just feel that, and also I am getting a bit bored of it now. I just wish they two would not blaming Ukraine. I think Russia should be saying, look, we're both losing a lot of people here. What are we gaining from it? Just sit down and talk about this, and then Russia just fuck off. But it's not going to happen, is it? It's just
No.
It's a very complicated thing, and
it's too
to put
complicated.
it very simply,
I think to err on the side of caution for the benefit of your channel, Moz, that particular subject is probably best avoided from a political point of view.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people out there that are virtue signaling, etc., etc. They don't understand the history. They don't understand the political situation. They don't understand any of it. And if you want to know about it, there are plenty of other platforms other than scale modeling platforms that you can learn about it, and then you can make your own mind up. But I think, unfortunately, certain platforms, as soon as you start talking about the politics behind that and everything else, they will just bin your channel.
Yeah. All I've ever wanted is a proper Vostok one, not the Airfix one, a proper 144 Vostok and a Soyuz. And they've released, I think they're released now, aren't they? But there's no, I'd say that Jadlam have got in for 44 quid. Oh, fucking hell. Have they got them in stock? Oh, no, I can't read. There's a problem because Jadlam's got a new, it's working. Yeah, they've got them in stock for 50 quid. Motherfucker.
Moss, just buy it. Don't put it on.
Moss, just buy it and put a sticker across it and say unbranded brand.
Yeah. Call it Tester. This is the tester kit. I got it from Slam Dam. Yeah, it's a lad there.
This is going to blow over at some point.
Yeah, right. It is going to have to. As soon as it's over, I'm buying them. But that scale model shop, Lad Jam, have got them in stock for 44 quid. Five off, free postage, crumbs. But honestly, it's a beautiful kit. I've seen the sprues and everything. People have sent me screenshots from Nuremberg last year, and it's was it year before? Was it last year or year before? It's gorgeous, and it's that moral thing, isn't it? And also, when you've got a channel the size of mine, I'm not being big-headed because I'm not, but you will end up, pulling in. You plough the field and the scatter, isn't it?
I said the only thing, if you want to build it, but don't feel guilty of it, because you have to remember, and again, this is from my point of view where I've studied these things, it's the actions of the Russian state, not the Russian people. They're two very different things. Yeah. And that shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do. If you want to build the model, build the model. That's what I'll say.
It's a difficult one. Anyways, hello, Nige.
Yeah, Nige is in.
Good to see you, Nigel.
Nige is in.
Thank you. Morning.
And Dottie.
Are you being Fiat 131 in tonight, have you?
I've been out in the garage. I've been out in the garage all day, and
Is it harder than what you first thought then, Nige? Is it a lot harder than you first thought?
No, God, no. I knew I could handle it. But it's so bloody hot and muggy and crap.
Yeah.
And rubbish.
So have you had to fix it again today?
Sorry?
Have you had to fix it again today?
I see what you did there, John.
Very good, John. Very good.
I like that.
That's what we call it in the taxi trade, Fiat. We call it fix it again today because we fucked it again tomorrow.
Yeah. I want to say,
I'll have you let me know, John, that Fiat is much better than any modern Ford.
Oh God, I wouldn't doubt it.
It's
all the engines that Fiat have, all diesels, that 2 litre or that 1.8, 1.9 litre diesel, it's in every single van, is absolutely bulletproof. It's the B10M Volvo engine that was put in numerous coaches up and down the country. The only reason they got rid of that B10M engine was it couldn't be a Euro 5 or Euro 4. It was just, they just couldn't get it.
Wasn't that engine put in the...
If you buy a Corsa 1.3 diesel, it's a Fiat engine.
Yeah. Cracking engines. Anyways, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to, or 10 past 10. We're going to call it quits. So thank you so much, everyone, for chatting and talking to us in the live. I hope we've answered so many questions. Next week, we got Malcolm from Models for Heroes on. We're going to talk about what he's going to come on for about an hour. He made contact, come on for more. He's going to come and talk to us about the future of Models for Heroes and about his latest charity event or charity raising, which is using Amazon wishlist. So he'll be on next week. He said he can do it, so I promise he can come on. But for everyone else, Luke, Ben, Zinzan, John, Alec, John, Joffy, and Nigel and Dottie, thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next Monday. Have a great week.
Take care, everyone.
See you soon.
Bye.